3 boring tools are running side projects that clear $10,000 a month. Go, SQLite, Stripe, that is the whole stack. One person, one small server, no cloud database bill, no Kubernetes, no Postgres cluster, no front-end framework that gets rewritten every 18 months. And here's the part that annoys people. This is not a compromise. Boring is the advantage. One developer can hold this entire system in their head. Try that with a mesh of microservices. Each of these 3 tools deletes a whole layer of your stack. Watch what disappears. Go removes the runtime mess. SQLite removes the database tier. Stripe removes payments compliance. What is left is small enough to understand and cheap enough to run for the price of a coffee. There is also a new reason boring is winning in 2026, and it involves the AI writing your code. Every stack has a catch though, and this one is real. We will get to it in a minute. So here is the tour. One boring language, one boring database, one boring payments layer. Start with the language. Start with Go. It compiles to a single static binary, not a folder of dependencies you pray are installed. One file. Turn CGO off and it cross-compiles from your laptop to a Linux box you have not logged into. Deploy is copy the file, run the file. It gets better with Go embed. Your HTML, your CSS, your JavaScript, even the database schema, all folded inside that same binary at compile time. The whole application ships as one artifact, usually under 50 megabytes, and there is no runtime to install on the box, no Node, no Python, no interpreter version to match. The kernel runs your binary directly, and the compiler is your first code reviewer. It refuses to build when the types do not line up, so a whole category of 3 in the morning production bugs simply does not board the plane. You find them at your desk, not in an angry user email. The web server is already in the standard library net/http. No framework to learn, no framework to get abandoned and rewritten under you. Go treats backwards compatibility as a promise, so the code you write today still compiles, untouched, years from now. Concurrency is basically free. Goroutines are so cheap that one small box happily juggles thousands of live connections. You outgrow your $12 server long before you outgrow the language, and scaling up is a bigger box, not a rewrite. Deployment stays boring too. One systemd service or a tiny Scratch-based Docker image and a push-to-deploy hook. There is no orchestration layer to babysit. Because there is nothing to orchestrate, the whole app is a single process. Now the part that makes senior engineers flinch, the database. SQLite is not a server you connect to over a network. It is a single file sitting on disk, right next to your code, read and written inside the very same process. That one file deletes an entire tier. No database server to run, no open port to secure, no connection pool to tune, no password sitting in an environment variable waiting to leak. One of the most common sources of outages simply is not there to break, and it is fast in a way a network database cannot touch. A read by primary key finishes in around 20 microseconds because there is no network hop. It is a function call. A single machine serves well over 100,000 reads a second before it breaks a sweat. Writes are quick too. Tens of thousands a second, they just serialize through that one writer. The setting that makes it production ready is well mode, write-ahead logging. Flip it on and you get unlimited simultaneous readers alongside a single writer. For a read-heavy app, which is very nearly every app, that comfortably covers the traffic you will actually see. Backups used to be the scary part of a one-file database. Litestream fixed that. It streams every change to S3 continuously, adds under a millisecond of latency, and runs about 50 cents a month for a gigabyte. It is point in time as well. You can restore to any second, not just last night's snapshot, and you barely notice it working. One Go detail worth knowing. Use the modern Pure Go SQLite driver, not the C one. No C compiler in your build, no broken Alpine images at deploy time, the single binary promise stays intact. Small choice saves you a genuinely bad afternoon. Here is the honest catch, because every stack has one. SQLite allows exactly one writer at a time. If background jobs, webhooks, and users all try to write at once, they line up and wait. There is an experimental begin concurrent mode, but it is not merged into mainline yet. So the rule is simple. The day your writes actually contend, not the day you imagine they might, that is your signal to move to Postgres. Most side projects never see that day. Do not pay the complexity tax before the bill arrives. And because the database is just a file, your backup and inspection story is delightful. You can copy production to your laptop, open it in any SQLite browser, and read live data with tools you already own. No dumps, no credentials, no ceremony. Third tool, money. Payments are where a lot of side projects stall out, because handling cards yourself drags in PCI audits, fraud rules, and the card networks. Stripe's whole pitch is that they will be the payments company so that you get to not be one. The integration is smaller than people fear. Stripe Checkout takes the card on their own hosted page. When the payment clears, a webhook pings your Go server. You verify the signature, flip one row in SQLite from unpaid to paid, and you are done. Stripe retries that webhook until you acknowledge it, so a dropped message does not turn into a missed sale. You do not touch, store, or even see a raw card number. It never reaches your server at all. Stripe carries the compliance weight, so your weekend project does not inherit a bank's regulatory burden. That alone is worth every cent of the fee. Speaking of the fee, 2.9% plus 30 cents per charge in the US with no monthly minimum. Run the math on $10,000 a month in revenue, and Stripe takes roughly $440 of it. You keep the other 95+%. The one line that stings is disputes. A chargeback costs $15 whether you win it or lose it. Budget for a few. Think of it as the tax on accepting money from strangers on the internet, and it is a cheap tax for everything Stripe removes. One more reason Stripe fits the boring philosophy. The docs are enormous, there is a sample in every language, and a full test mode you can hammer before a single real card. That predictability is the exact reason a model generates it correctly. So why is a stack this old winning again in 2026? Not nostalgia. Something real changed about who writes most of the code now, and increasingly it is not a human typing every single line. Language models learn from the entire public internet. Go, SQL, SQLite, plain HTTP, these carry millions of examples, tutorials, and battle-tested snippets baked straight into the model weights. Every Stack Overflow answer and every old GitHub repo about them is training signal an exotic option simply does not have. Ask a model for a Stripe webhook handler in Go, and it writes it correctly on the first attempt because it has effectively seen that exact handler 10,000 times. The code compiles and runs. It does not just look plausible in the diff. Now ask it for the same thing in some 3-month-old framework. It confidently invents functions that were never real, and you burn the afternoon debugging your assistant instead of shipping. In the AI era, boring technology has become a correctness feature. There is an old principle underneath all of this. Dan McKinley's rule from 2015, every project gets about 3 innovation tokens: a novel database, a novel language, a novel framework. Each one spends a token, and you only get 3 before the whole thing turns fragile. Go, SQLite, and Stripe cost 0 tokens. They are proven, documented, and boring on purpose. That leaves all 3 of your tokens for the one place novelty actually pays off: the product itself, the thing a customer swipes their card for. Does any of this survive contact with real money? Pieter Levels is the proof. He runs a stack even plainer than this one: vanilla PHP, jQuery, and SQLite on a single server, and treats his tooling as boring entirely on purpose. As of late 2025, his handful of apps clear around $138,000 a month with 0 employees. Photo AI alone, essentially one large index file, does the majority of that, with interior AI and remote OK making up much of the rest, all under the same solo single server discipline. One person, one server, real money. Add up the bill and it is almost comical. A small VPS for a few dollars, object storage measured in cents, and Stripe only takes its cut when you actually earn. Your fixed monthly cost rounds to about 0, and it took him more than 70 failed projects to land the winners. Which is the real lesson hiding inside the numbers. The stack was never the bottleneck. Shipping something people would actually pay for was. The tools just got out of the way. That is the pattern behind almost every 10,000 a month side project. They are not built on clever infrastructure that impresses other engineers. They are built on finished infrastructure that impresses customers by simply working, every day, without drama. So keep the honest bar in view. You graduate off this stack when you genuinely hit one of 3 walls: a second application server, truly concurrent writers, or a team large enough that one shared file becomes a coordination problem. Not one day before that. Until you hit a wall, every hour you are not spending fighting Kubernetes or babysitting a database cluster is an hour you spend on features and on customers. That trade, boring plumbing for a finished product, is the entire game. Go for the binary, SQLite for the file, Stripe for the money. 3 tools nobody will call exciting, 1 person to run them, and a business that is completely real. Boring, it turns out, ships. Pick the boring stack, ship the interesting product.